we were having a particularly hard day one day last week, and one of my kids like muttered under his breath, "Man, you don't get paid enough." And I was like, I agree.
No, Katie, no. Katie, she's messing with
Wednesday.
you. Now
I'm
you
sorry,
deserve
I'm
that
sorry.
finger,
I'm
okay?
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're going to go ahead
Hey, Blubberjack! You are the paper champion. You should not won that match. The house always wins. Guys, welcome back to Baker's Bantering. Last night we have a freaking blast.
Oh,
we did have fun.
we did.
Yeah.
Meaning all of us except for Katy and Jack. I mean, they might have had a good night too, but they weren't with us.
I had a great night going to bed at not an unreasonable hour.
Oh, thank goodness you didn't come with us, Katie.
It was so late.
Oh my God, I would have hated my life today.
Mom looked at me at like 9:30 and she's like, "Oh my God, maybe we're going to get out of here by 10." I said, "Mom, there's 2 more matches." She's like,
After this one. And I
2?
went, oh,
She thought there was
shit.
only 1 left. She was wrong.
It was a lot.
So
Well, you
wrong.
texted at like 10:30 and said that the main event was just starting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, luckily the main event entrances had already happened. But the ding 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 start fighting had just occurred at 10:30.
Yeah.
Thankfully the main event was not the longest match of the night.
No.
Thank God.
No.
I was going to bed around
We'll get to
10:30,
that.
so.
We have things to talk about before we get straight into AEW Dynasty. Derek, is that okay with you?
It was a great night, though. It's just long for a Sunday night.
That's totally fine with me.
Are we going to get a little introduction of the who's who's?
Oh, you got your shirt on.
Did you get that yesterday?
Yeah.
He
me
sure
see.
did.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that was a nice pick that you made.
I like them colors.
When he pointed out the shirt and said, "That one," this gentleman in the line for merch said, "Derek, I know you." And then he came over and walked over and dapped Derek up a little bit. And then he said, "Hey, I got to tell you guys something. I'm good buddies with James Draws."
Really?
And I said, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Yeah, I have a t-shirt store and James and his, or maybe a shoe store. Maybe a shoe store. James and his crew came in one time and like did some stuff there, maybe like a meet and greet or something. I don't know. But he said that he's been friends with James ever since.
So he's from Oklahoma.
I assumed, I didn't ask.
Right? Oklahoma.
James is from Oklahoma for sure. But
That's
yeah, he
fun.
was like, "I'm good buddies with James." And then I had actually so shout out James. I know you're listening because you're a loyal listener of
We
the
love you,
Bakers
James.
Bantering podcast.
I do love James for sure.
I had just on the way there been watching a video of James that he posted recently. Somebody commented on James's video and was like, "I think James needs to fade." And then James made this video and he's like sitting on the couch and he kind of points up at the comment. He's like, "I like this idea." And then next thing you know, he's in the barber chair.
Oh, how fun.
And he got this
Did James get a fade?
great haircut.
I need to see it.
I want to see it, too.
It's on his TikTok. I just saw it yesterday. He posted it like almost a month ago, or like 2
I
weeks.
saw it actually.
He posted the day before Derek's birthday.
Okay, I gotta rewind. Are you saying dap people
Dap.
up? It's dab.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Dab people up. I promise.
I thought it was DAP too.
I think you're
Dap?
wrong.
No.
Dab is like this.
No, dab. If you're dabbing them up,
That
Jack,
dap.
look it up. Look it up, Jack.
I will fight for this millennial term.
Neither
That's
one of
Gen
them
Z
makes
versus
sense to me.
millennial. I'm telling you, dab is like this. Derek, show me a dab.
Well, you want it?
DAP, D-A-P.
No.
Boom, roasted.
way.
A friendly greeting between two people to express solidarity.
Dap.
No.
Dap. Wrong. You are wrong.
I am glad it's not me this time.
The Gen Zer is wrong.
My kids have failed me.
They are wrong. You are wrong. I am right. Millennials
This whole
for the
time
win.
she's been saying dap, and I'm like, this moron.
I am right.
Pot.
All right.
No.
She's
All right,
over
Jack,
there.
you
Pot
can
calling
cut
the
all
kettle
that.
black, right?
You can cut all that, Jack.
No.
Keep going in
No,
there.
if anything, we're turning this
Keep
into
going
a
in
video. We are exposing you and your students. You're wrong.
I feel like
Take it to the classroom tomorrow. We looked it up.
All right, moving
I would have
on.
put money on that. That's how confident I was.
I believe in you.
Yeah, there was something I was
So-
going to put money on one time, and I didn't do it. It was a good thing. I don't remember what it was.
I don't very
it
often.
was that Stanley.
It was the Stanley.
Oh, yeah, it was.
So do you know about the
The
Stanley
Stanley.
Cups? Okay, you know about the Stanley Cups.
Come
these.
on,
Yeah,
Jack.
yeah, okay, those
This is
Stanley
the cups.
Sure.
Okay, so the whole thing with the Stanley Cups is that they rebranded. They had been in business for like 70 years
They
or something.
rebranded?
And they rebranded. And when they rebranded is when they kind of took this approach.
Well, at first,
And-
not as much this approach as this approach.
Well, that's true.
But they first
they targeted men.
Dad, and now they target Jenna and I.
They target women now because a couple of moms on the internet reviewed their product, like bought it from like, because as they were being targeted to men, but the women bought it and the women were like, this is a nice cup. And then the women reviewed it. And the next thing you know, they started like selling like, it was like something crazy. Like, don't quote me on this, but like 700% profits or something difference year over year once women became aware of the product. But originally they were targeting construction workers. They were targeting men. They were targeting people who worked outdoors, things like that.
Blue collar.
Because it is a very good insulated cup. You can put hot drinks in it. You can put cold drinks in it. And they did, the previous products were less this shape, more of like a tall
They were a
thermos.
It was
style.
a thermos.
Well, I was talking about this one time and I was telling the family about it. And I was like, do you guys remember that cup that that thermos Dad used to have? You would take it all over the damn place. It had duct tape all over it. Mom made me feel dumb.
It was
because
absolutely not a Stanley.
100% telling me it was not a Stanley. And I was like, I swear, I think that thing was a Stanley. Like, I really think it was a Stanley. And then what happened, Mom?
I was wrong. It was a Stanley. And I was ready to put money on the line, but she wouldn't take the bet. So
Because
She was like, I'll put $1,000.
I don't have money to lose.
I was pretty confident.
Mom
I
was so
very
confident.
wrong.
Then, like, a couple days later, I was going to make a smoothie, so I got into our little cabinet to get our blender out, and there it was. And I sent a picture, and I said, Jenna, you should have taken that bet.
Ugh. Whoops. I didn't have $1,000 to lose. I should have taken the bet.
So is Yeti out? Yeti's been out for a
Well,
while now, huh?
We use Yetis too.
Okay.
I actually have a Stanley and a Yeti over here. I have both. But yeah, I mean, I used to have a Yeti for a long time, but then I got a Stanley. These are actually, shout out to our friends at Jelly Smack. These are our Stanleys that Derek and I have that have our names on them. Okay.
I still have mine.
You should start using it. I know you don't drink enough water. So what did you want to tell Derek about my spray tan today?
No.
Why
I want
are
to
you
know.
freaking out?
No.
Why are you
I
freaking
think
out?
no. No.
Oh, chill. Okay.
She
then
was
you-
naked when
chill.
she got it.
Oh, and he took his ears off.
Your attitude's worse than my kids.
Ooh, worse than high school.
And you should have seen one of the glares I got today. And I told my student, I said, don't look at me like that. And he said, this is just my face. And I said, I know all about attitude. And because I know all about attitude, I know you're giving me it right now and you can knock it off.
So speaking of attitude, I feel like that's what we were talking about on last week's podcast. And I heard that maybe you were a little offended. You felt like we were slandering you on the podcast last
Well,
week.
you
Would you like
guys-
to defend yourself?
I mean, well,
What did Ryan say?
Ryan said something about he listened to the podcast. It was awesome. He particularly liked the moment when everyone decided to roast me.
I do think Dad brought it up.
It was Dad.
It was Dad, and
Good
sorry,
job, Dad.
I'm struggling to focus right now because my foot just fell asleep. No, I'm like, ah.
Well, he was just talking about how you. Oh, what did he say about the? I have to pee in church.
Oh yeah, no filter
kinda
and
loud when you
whiny
were
and
little.
loud, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I mean, but if the shoe fits,
and it's like I really can't defend it because it's not like I
remember.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm just like, you don't have to air my dirty laundry out there like that.
There was the one trip where we were in
You were
Yellowstone.
super
Okay,
little.
excuse me. I got me Barry, I got you Moosey, and I got him.
No, you got
No,
him, Moosey.
no, him
Moosey.
Moosey,
I have
you
Buffy.
Buffy.
Yeah, our stuffed animals that we still have to this day. But you were the queen of that trip because the rest of us were scared to set you off again because you would not stop
You
screaming.
had a. I
Was
mean,
she,
you
like,
were
teething
little.
or something?
You were little. You were under 2. You were probably not even a year and a half, and it was just a lot to ask of you to road trip like we did. And
So it was your fault.
it was Dad's fault
Yeah, let's gang up on him now that he's the odd one
because he's
out.
not here.
Oh, well, I feel like we did that a lot.
Yeah, but no, we were at Yellowstone, and you had been pretty whiny the whole trip, and just we're not having your car seat and whatever. And we're in this little gift shop at Yellowstone National Park. And there's this little black bear, and you were in your stroller, and you reached out and grabbed that bear and started hugging it, and you stopped crying for the first time that day. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. That thing costs $150. I'm buying it. But if I bought you one, I had to buy him one, and I had to buy her one. But yeah, but it was a good buy. Trust me.
It was an investment.
It was probably only about $25, but yeah.
75 because we all three got one.
But you all got
Derek's was smaller, so maybe his wasn't.
Yeah, he got the little moose.
Sure.
He was super cool, that little moose. And then you sent that moose to college with Jenna so that she wouldn't forget you. Do you remember that?
I did actually.
I can't
were
believe
so
I didn't
sweet.
forget you.
How could
He's
you
very forgettable.
right.
And how wrong was Dad with what he told Mom?
Oh, I think he's all right. He's right. Nobody was willing to hear what I'm gonna say, okay?
What are you going to say?
What do you want to say?
What do you want to talk about?
That's right,
That's
that's
what
right.
you're trying to do.
What do you want to talk about?
That's good. I do love Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And our regular as a wrap up,
You were not very nice to him.
You were not.
it was really real harsh. Dad, I did not mean that. I still love you. If you want to join this podcast again, moving forward, that's totally fine.
He's like, you're
Really?
welcome to take Katie's seat.
Okay, in your defense, though, Derek, can I defend you really quick? Here's the thing about
She's the one that
Derek
slanted herself.
and people with Down syndrome. Generally, this can be something that they struggle with.
This is a problem
Is-
for all people.
All people, but
Yeah, for
Derek
you.
doesn't regulate his emotions as quickly as everybody else. So he doesn't like it when things get changed last minute without his awareness, his knowledge, that sort of thing. And what happened last week was literally 10 minutes before we were start the podcast, Dad walks in the house. He was home early, which was abnormal. He had a dentist appointment, so he was in the house at an hour that he is not normally in the house. And because we were going to be talking about Down syndrome and Dad hadn't been a part of that conversation yet, I thought it would be a good idea to invite Dad on the podcast. While that occurred, Mom got a phone call where she said, I can't be on the podcast right this second. You guys need to start without me. So the next thing you know, Mom's out, Dad's in, and that's a lot of change for our guy over here. Those are two very different energies on the podcast, and Derek was not mentally prepared to be talking to Dad. He was mentally prepared to be talking to Mom.
Who's nicer?
And you didn't, and
Yes,
you also
I'll
hadn't.
agree.
You also hadn't pissed him off the night before, which
Well,
Dad
there's that.
apparently did. And so that was a little bit of...
He's good at that.
It was a shock to you. You were not expecting
Hey,
it,
Jack,
and you didn't do great with the change.
I got a question for you. Do you ever blur a finger before?
Did I ever what?
Oh my God! Don't be flipping anybody off. He said, have you ever blurred a finger before?
Who are you going to flip off?
Who are you to flip off, bro?
You
Let-
know I'm
let's-
gonna do.
No.
Don't flip off your sister.
Let's keep our finger
Where it's-
in the holster.
You may blur it if you like.
You don't have to blur it. It's not that big of a
Dude,
deal.
speaking
but-
of blurring and censoring, and I heard Mom say the F-bomb on the podcast.
Yeah,
this
I
week.
did. I heard myself too. I just went, ooh, whoops. I was fiery in the afternoon.
I like it.
suppose.
I like it. Okay, so I do.
She is a fasty woman. Like especially on Friday night.
Oh, are we getting into Friday night?
You want to go there?
Do you want to go there?
I
Not-
want to go there.
Not right now, but
Oh,
but
you just
moving
opened the
forward,
door.
You opened the door.
Pandora.
I just want to open
Okay,
that door
let's
a
just
little
ask
bit.
Jack one question. Okay? It's just a yes or no answer. Jack, is it okay to spit on the wall in your home?
No.
According to Jack, that's damn it crystal clear.
Yeah.
What about according to Derek?
4 against 1. Everyone guess who 1 is.
No comment for that. I will give you the answer next week on the podcast.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about it next week.
Sure.
The wound's still a little salty.
A little
this week.
fresh.
Well, he has to be able to watch Friday Night SmackDown before he can
Well,
talk
we don't
about
need to
it.
go there.
Oh boy.
Okay, now you've gone too far, Catherine.
I was doing great the whole week and not mentioning SmackDown.
Well,
That was slip.
Okay, now that's not your.
you don't.
You
That
were
doesn't
prompted.
count.
That
That
doesn't
doesn't
count.
count.
Thursday.
No, Katie. No, Katie. She's
It's
messing with
Wednesday.
you. Now
I'm
you
sorry, I'm
deserve that
sorry,
finger.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're gonna go ahead.
Hey, Blurjack. I don't care.
He gave me the double bird.
He was doing some of those last night. There was some people in the ring doing them too.
Oh, there was a lot of people flipping the bird. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the superstars were flipping the bird at each other. It was like, whoa, okay.
Oh, yeah.
They
Especially
were.
Huck,
Maybe it's
like-
because it's a pay-per-view and it wasn't live on TV.
Maybe.
I
feel
think
like-
AEW gets away with a lot more than WWE regardless.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you remember all that
that's true,
stuff with
too.
Edge and Kristen Cage when we were there?
Bro, it's Adam Copeland.
Adam
Or sorry,
Copeland.
sorry.
No respect.
I'm
No
really
respect.
sorry.
She messed up.
It was
She
a
messed up.
I'm so
mistake.
sorry to AEW.
I'm very sorry to AEW and to Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland
should-
and Kristen
She
Cage.
is not.
We're gonna get to the inappropriateness of AEW last night. There was some things that I was like, "Whoa, that happened."
All I'm saying is when we watched in one of the shows that we've gone to, there was an
Dynamite.
F-bomb dropped on stage.
Yeah. You had a funny story last week. You were asleep
Yes.
and you woke up, and what happened?
Okay, so I went to bed. It was like I went to bed around like 10:30. It was a school night. And I woke up and I jumped out of bed. I actually texted Ryan. I said, "Shit, I just woke up." And
Bad
I
idea.
flipped. I flipped the light on in my room. I go to the bathroom. Derek's light's still on. And I walk in. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm doing my predictions." And I'm like, "Have you gone to sleep yet?" And he's like, "No, I will soon." And I said, "What the heck, Derek? It's morning." And he said, "What are you talking about? It's night." It was 11:11 p.m. I'd been sleeping for 45 minutes.
I was right.
You were
You were right.
Then I
was
texted Ryan. I
right.
said,
She's wrong.
and said, "I don't know what I'm on." I was like, "It's night. Thank God I get to go back to bed."
What did you think when that happened?
Maybe she's a little bit drunk that night.
I don't think I was.
I was
No.
with her all night. She was certainly not drunk.
Maybe two or three margaritas. But
Nope.
Nope. Nothing.
I was just high on life, Derek.
She had no alternative
Mhm.
substances except for the dinner that I cooked her, which was completely clean ingredients.
oh yeah.
Jenna spiked the dinner.
Nope.
Maybe you should get drunk into your dinner.
No, I don't think so. But okay, I do want to talk about AEW. But before we do that, Katie, your school year, it is coming to a close.
Thank God.
Whoa. Wow. Okay.
I'm in that April funk. It's just a thing for teachers.
So it's your first time.
A little
It's your
sassy
first
fucking-
April funk. So how do you feel that your first year's almost over? Where are we at?
Well,
We're in the April funk.
we're in the April funk. I feel like May 29th is going to
Excuse
be
me.
a warm welcome when it gets here. But I've had a great time. I have learned a lot. You know, I think on this podcast I talked about at, like the beginning, right before I was starting, or maybe right when I first started, and I said people said don't smile till Thanksgiving. You got to come out tough, and then you can always ease up. And I said that's not my personality. Well, guess what? Next year,
You're not smiling till Thanksgiving.
I'm not smiling till Thanksgiving. Next year, it's going to be a whole different me when we start, because good Lord, it has been such a challenge to rein my kids in. And I mean, it's a battle every single day. We have good days. Today was a good day, and we have bad days. And there's
Good thing we caught her on the good day.
there's a lot of bad days. I mean,
Some of
the
them
amount of
are fine,
times
too.
that I try to get class started and they're like, "Miss Baker, can't we just do nothing today? Can't we just do something fun?" I'm like, when have you ever just not done anything in math class? Like, what? And it's an EOC class. Like, it is the class that you have to get through the content in the most.
And what is EOC again?
End of course exam. The way that the school as a whole performs on the EOC allows the school like a certain amount of funds from the state. So we get a lot of
vital.
it's vital, and it's very much like pressure on the teachers to have their students perform. And as a first year teacher, it's intimidating. And as someone who has never really prepped students for the EOC before, like I did last year for my student teaching, but at the same time, it was like just a second semester thing. Like I didn't have them the whole first semester. So it was, well, and some of my students weren't going to be taking the EOC because of the slowed down, the way that I was teaching like the first half of algebra. So it's a lot of pressure, and I just don't know how they're going to perform. Like you can guess like, oh, I think this person would be proficient. Oh, I think this person would be advanced. But until I actually have a roster of students go through it and like see how they perform, like it's just hard to tell. And then of course I tell my students how important it is. And then they're like, oh, so it doesn't matter. And I'm like, even if the only reason that it matters is because it reflects well on me, it'd be nice if you could care.
A little.
A little.
So do they only do EOCs at the end of the school year, not end of the semester?
So a final and an EOC are different things.
Okay. So they have finals and EOCs.
Mhm.
Oof, brutal.
Yeah. And you only do 4 EOCs in high school, 1 in each subject. So we've got the English 2 EOC, the biology EOC, the Gov EOC, and the Algebra 1 EOC. And then like there is some other options. So for example, if you're a student who's in an accelerated path who takes Algebra 1 as an 8th grade student, well, you take the EOC because you always take the EOC when you take Algebra 1, but you have to take the EOC in high school. So if that's the case, then there is also an Algebra 2 EOC that then those people would take when they take Algebra 2. It's a graduation requirement.
So going into next year, you like touched on this a little bit, but what do you think you will change beginning your school year next year? Because you will be teaching the same subject, yes?
Mm-hmm. Well, so I'm not teaching geometry anymore next year.
Okay.
So instead of having 2 sections of the everyday algebras and a section of geometry, I'm going to have 2 sections of the everyday algebras and 1 section of the every other day.
So is that going to still be Algebra 1?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not going to be it's going to be not be 5 days a week.
So
Yeah,
2 of my courses will be the everydays and one
Right.
of them will be every other day.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are you going to implement at the beginning of the school year that you maybe didn't know you needed to do last year?
Well, I think my biggest hurdle this year, honestly, has been battling cell phones. And so I just want to be stricter and be able to apply my rules in a more consistent manner next year. So like next year, there's a parent email going out at the beginning of the year saying that your student will not have access to their phones during my class. And if you have an emergency that you need to get a hold of them, please feel free to call the office and they will come get your student.
What do other teachers do about cell phones? Like when you talk to your peers that are your teacher friends?
Well, it just depends. I mean, some of them just fight the battle like I do with the put your phones away. Okay, now you have your phone out, put it away. Okay, now you have your phone out, put it away. Okay, now I've had it. You put your phone in phone jail. You put your phone in phone jail. And it's just this constant battle. Some people have them put it up in something when they first get there. Some people don't care. Like there's teachers who just, I mean.
Even math teachers?
I don't know. I mean, I think especially like as we've gotten into this time of the year, I think a lot of us are just tired.
Mm-hmm.
And it like this teacher might have been fighting the battle at one point, but at this point they've given up on the battle. I think that for the most part, the people who are choosing to be on their phone are choosing their own fate. Like if you decide that you're going to be on your phone throughout the lesson, then that's just going to reflect of your ability to get a good score. And the people who really care about their grades are not going to have those phone problems to the same extent as the people who don't care. And so it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, why should I care more than the student does?
So if you were going to send a message to just parents of high school aged children, what, as a first year teacher with the struggles that you have faced this year, what would you say collectively to that group of parents?
I just think that their support would be nice. I think that there's a lot of parents who kind of put their children on a pedestal and their children is like their child is like the light of their life, which is wonderful. And I'm so grateful that these kids have parents who love them in that way. But it's like, just because you love your child doesn't mean your child can do no wrong. And I think also that some parents take their child misbehaving in school as like a criticism of their parenting. And that's not what it is. But support for your teachers, because, I mean, yeah, there could be teachers out there who are making a mountain out of a molehill or accusing your child of something that they didn't do. But generally, the teacher's right. And I feel like not every parent is taking the teacher's side all the time. I mean, I've had parents who have accused me of not caring for their child and their learning because I sent an email home about discipline. And it's like, no. The reason that you're getting this email about how your child is misbehaving in my class is because I'm hopeful that you can help me by having a conversation with your child so that their behavior can improve, so that their learning can improve along with it. But not only do I care about their learning, I care about the learning of my class. And when I'm emailing you about your child's behavior, it's not only because it's taking away from their own learning, but because it's taking away from the learning of others. And that's the big problem, because, again, you're fighting that battle. It's exhausting to care more than the child does. And so when you are fighting that behavior, it's like the fact that you're distracting yourself, that's your choice. But the fact that you're distracting your other classmates, that's what I have to put a stop to, because it's not their choice to be distracted by you. And so it's just like you're constantly fighting that battle. And you have kids. I mean, I have this troublemaker who I've been struggling with this year, and the past 3 classes, he's done great. But at the same time, it comes in waves. So he might do really well for a little bit, and then he has a bad class. And then because he has a bad class, I have to discipline him. And then he's mad at me for a while and doesn't want to work for me until he finally gets back on the right track again. And so it's just this, with a lot of kids, it's this up and down, up and down. And then it's just sometimes you have a class where it's just the kids are fighting for class clown.
Mm-hmm. Don't love.
And
for those of you not watching, she just made quite the facial expression.
It's just exhausting. And I'm the amount of times that can you not and get it together come out of my mouth and act your age and stop doing that and all these things. I'm it's exhausting. It really is. And teaching is not for the weak. I mean, and my class one of my classes in particular is very challenging. And we were having a particularly hard day one day last week, and one of my kids muttered under his breath, "Man, you don't get paid enough." And I was like, I agree. And it's the whole pay thing, it's getting better and stuff, but just for what we have to go through and for the lack of support from a lot of people at home. And it's when you're dealing with a restaurant or something like that, it's the customer's always right. Well, in a lot of cases, it's the parent's always right. The kid's always right, because the kid has the parent wrapped around their finger. And so then you're constantly fighting this battle of, okay, well, I do want what's best for your child, and their actions is not what's best for them.
So maybe you need the parents, the moral of this is that the parents need to start realizing that the teacher is always right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rather than the vice versa.
To echo what you're saying, Katie, my dad, whenever I was in school, I was a troublemaker, and he basically said the same thing. I'm always going to believe the teacher no matter what. And I think that served me later on.
And that's how I feel our parents were in high school. And that's how I feel a lot of parents were when we were growing up. But unfortunately, that behavior has shifted quite a bit. And there's just so many parents who...
And now kids are worse because there's more cell phones in the classroom.
The classroom is a crazy place to be these days. Crazy. And the audacity of some of these kids. I mean, some of the stuff that they say to me are wild.
And they have smartphones. Like, I didn't have a smartphone until I was in college. Not to age myself, but to age myself. I didn't have a smartphone until, like, I was T9 and under the desk in school.
Yeah. It's the classroom it's exhausting. And so, and that's, I mean, people are always like, yeah, but it doesn't matter that you don't get paid that much because you get the whole summer off. And it's like, if teachers did not get a summer break,
there'd be no teachers.
And people are already dropping from the profession like flies.
Right.
Like, of the two of the 7 teachers that were hired to my school this year are leaving education. I mean, one of them's going to be a stay-at-home mom, and the other one is just decided that teaching wasn't for him. This was only his 2nd year. But it's like, there's so many people left and right that have wanted to do this, did it, and said, it's not for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm really proud of you. I think just you're not even done with your first year yet, but I feel like you have grown so much. You've obviously learned a ton. I think that your 2nd year will be still a challenge, but at the same time, I think you will figure out a way to have a little bit more rein on your class, which I think will help your mental sanity on a day-to-day basis. And I just think you've done an amazing job.
I mean, it's been like, I have really enjoyed it. I am going to miss the faces that I get to see every day. And when I see them in the hallway next year, I am going to ask them how things are going. And I do hope that they do well in their future. But good Lord, do they drive me nuts every once in a while.
Yeah. On a lighter note, do you think you're going to be coaching softball again next season?
If they have me, I think so. Yeah. We have an informational meeting coming up that I got asked to come to. So, an informational meeting for the girls. So I guess they're assuming I'm in, and I'm happy to do that again. It was a lot of fun. So,
well, I just want to say that I am also super proud of you. And I think that I could have never been a teacher.
Shit, I don't know if I can be. No, I'm kidding.
Well, you're already doing it.
I had Girl Scouts for an hour, and I was like, oh my God, take your kids home. But it warms my heart how much you care about these kids. And there are going to be children whose lives they're going to remember you in 10, 15, 20 years.
She's going to cry.
She's crying.
It's just really important what you do.
It was funny because one of my students today, I gave them her test back from last week, and she was like, were you surprised by my score? And I was like, yeah, you did really well. Good job. And I was like, maybe it's your awesome math teacher. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, you're learning from the best, aren't you? And my whole class was like, like, yeah, okay, Ms. Baker.
Well,
I pump myself up, and
and they slap you down.
Yeah, and they're like, you're not that special.
Yeah. Well,
and I also love to make jokes, and then they just look at me like a blank face. Sometimes
you're going to have to go tell them tomorrow that
Blake's
dab is dap. You need to educate the youth.
I made a dead grandma joke last week.
Oh.
Well, let's save that for later.
But I am super proud of you, and I know you're touching kids' hearts and minds, and it's so important. And I know you're going to have frustrations, and you have frustrations everywhere, but I'm sure it's compounded often in the classroom. But what you do is so incredibly important, and I am so very proud of you.
Thank you. I've had a good year, and I've been really blessed to be surrounded by great staff and great admin, and I really, really like my department and the people that I work very closely with, and it's a really good community and just environment there, and I'm happy where I'm at. So
it is a small world after all, for sure.
Okay. Before we jump into AEW, I did want to say one more thing. They've apparently done another vote about banning TikTok, and it potentially feels like this one is a little bit more real, potentially. From what I read briefly, this AP article I was reading was saying that it's actually a new bill than the one they voted on a few months ago. This one gives TikTok a little bit more time to maybe create some sort of deal where they can get bought out. It gives them 9 months to come up with a deal, and it gives them another 3-month grace period of if there is a deal in the works, getting it finished. But they do, TikTok apparently has intentions of potentially taking them to court about it, saying that they are, overstepping the American people's First Amendment rights. It did pass in the House by a pretty large vote, like 360 maybe to like 50. 360 to 58. This is a modified version of the bill from the original bill. I don't know if this bill still needs to go through the Senate as well. I'm not really sure. I didn't read into it too much, but that is what I know, and I guess we will see what happens. And if you are listening you obviously enjoy our content. So please make sure that you are following us on the other platforms, just in case we do at some point lose our friends on TikTok. Yes. But okay.
AEW.
So this was exciting.
So much fun.
It was the inaugural AEW Dynasty.
Oh, really? I didn't realize
not
it
Dynamite.
was the first.
I just said, let's talk about Dynamite.
Nope, Dynasty. It was
Dynasty.
the inaugural. I read it. And it was here in St. Louis, and I think that is pretty cool. And we were there, and it was our Baker family's first AEW pay-per-view event.
And it was a packed house.
I know.
Great.
It was a full house. It was a lot of fun.
Full
It
house,
did
baby.
start out. We came right out of the parking garage. Derek got recognized twice in the parking garage alone.
Twice.
On the stairs. And then we come out of the parking garage, and here comes this guy on a golf cart offering rides to the stadium, which was not
that
far from where we were. But
That's
of
one
course,
good thing about Shavitz. I mean, you park right there. It's kind of nice.
But of course, Derek insisted
Wanted the
that
golf
we
cart
needed
ride.
the ride.
He said, twist my arm.
Yeah.
And not only was he offering rides, but he was also offering a free beer with a ride. And so he started driving, and he started making his announcement about free beer. And Derek said, well, where's my free beer?
Where's my beer?
With my beer.
And then what'd you get?
Bud Light.
Bud Light.
Yeah.
So did you have to pay for the ride?
It was
Gratuity driven.
he was accepting gratuity, and of course I did give him money because he gave us a ride, and luckily I had money because Derek did not, and Dad forgot his wallet at home.
Yeah, Dad didn't have his wallet at all. I said, well, you've been nice, so I guess I'll buy you dinner.
But so you got a beer, and then he was
did.
encouraging Dad to chug it because they were taking turns trying to finish it because it was not a very long ride, and then we were right there and had to go in. So I'm like, you got to finish that bad boy. So Derek and Dad were passing it back and forth, and Derek was telling Dad to chug it, and Dad said, I'm too old to chug.
Yeah. Pish posh. There's no such thing.
Pish posh.
Pish posh.
So that was that. So then we got in. We did make some friends on the way in. We saw our friend from the Belt Squad.
Which one?
Love them.
I believe isn't
Love
his name
them.
Cameron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he
I think
told
so.
me that him and Jay would be in Cleveland. So that by default, I was like, that must mean you're Cameron.
Yeah. And he
Because
had
Cameron sounds right to me.
Is he the one from Chicago?
No, he's the one from St. Louis.
Okay.
He's the one with the glasses.
I don't think he's from St. Louis. I
Not
think-
St. Louis. Sedalia?
Yeah.
He's from the middle. He's from
He's
Missouri.
from
Oh,
Missouri.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
did have a cool
Missouri.
shirt on that says St. Louis Belt Squad.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna have to get one of those.
He
Where do I get
also
one?
had some very cool AEW belts that we'd never seen before. We had several people come up to us in the hallway and
Yes.
took lots of pictures. And there was one young man who had a jean jacket on and jeans and sunglasses. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, I'm like, oh, you're Orange Cassidy, aren't you?
I it
did
hit
point
me at
to
the
that.
same
Yeah.
time, but you said it first before I
Yeah.
could get it
He
out.
was
I
cute.
was like,
he was
oh.
probably a young teenager, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember Takayan with the curly hair? He's got the blonde tips at the end. We see him at all the events. We didn't see him. He didn't say hello to us, but all of a sudden
saw
we're
him in the
sitting there
stands.
and we're like, hey, there he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was kind of funny.
Yep.
We did get to make some friends, and then we got to go to our seats, and Derek and I, it's always so funny when we walk in and we're like kind of aimlessly looking around to try to figure out where our seats are, because next thing you know, we always just get yelled at. And we're just like, it's just like, Derek, oh my God, it's Derek, oh my God. And so then Derek is standing there, and there's like music playing or something, and he's just waving around at everybody just in a circle.
Were there people
Saying
actually
hello.
yelling his name?
Oh,
this
yeah,
time?
yeah. No, there was
So you
definitely.
mean he didn't just walk in, start waving like he was
like a princess.
No, he did start waving after people were calling his name and calling Baker Banter at us. But yeah, that was fun. And then we got in, we sat down. You know, Mom, I just feel really bad.
Yeah.
We keep sending you to the bathroom and to the drinks and get the
Get
food.
the food.
And
I missed
all
the
the
Bang
stuff.
Bang Scissor Gang.
she missed the
No
Bang
way.
Bang Scissor Gang and
Bang, bang.
Mercedes Monet.
And Mercedes Monet.
Dang, how long was that line?
Well, the
It was 2
line
different
was long, but I
times.
went out twice.
It was
Yeah.
2 different times.
Mm.
So there was a pre-show that started at 6, and then there was like
That's
3 or
called 0 hour.
0 hour. There was like 3 or 4 shows during 0 hour, and the Bang Bang Scissor Game was one of them, which was funny because it is pretty hilarious to see Billy Gunn fighting against his sons. And Dad did get to see the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. And here's the thing. So Max, you remember Max? He's the extra
One of
funny
the-
one,
The
right?
acclaimed.
The acclaimed, like they're both pretty funny, but Max is like really funny.
He's the one that's like taller with the curlier hair.
Yeah. Well, so Max came out with a microphone
Mm.
and he was rapping.
Yo. Yo.
Yo, St. Louis.
Listen.
So he is rapping and he is
Was he
insulting.
rapping well?
It was pretty funny. It was pretty clever. And he's, you know,
Did you tape it?
oh, I have it for
Okay,
sure.
Well, someday I'll watch it. I
Yeah,
was in
I
line
think
for
it might
chicken.
be on Snapchat. But he is going on, and I don't exactly remember what the joke he made about Donald Trump was, but he said something in his rap and took a dig at Donald Trump, and Dad busted out laughing. Like he was clapping. He was laughing so hard, and like he hadn't said anything. Like I kind of forgot he was even sitting with us. And next thing you know, he is busting a
He's
gut
belly-
laughing.
belly laughing
It
like
was
he
so
does.
funny. I'm sad I missed it. Like I wanted to get it on camera because Dad was laughing so hard, like audibly laughing.
That's funny.
And it was great.
Well,
And then he did at the very end. Anthony actually snatched the mic away from him because whatever he was about to say was like something about blah 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 and
About his person?
about his parts. Yes.
Oh,
And he did the gesture toward himself, and he was about to say my blank, and Anthony.
His anaconda?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Anthony snatched the mic away from him.
very
Yeah.
smart.
It's what happened.
but
right,
they
Dad?
lost. Daddy Ass and the acclaimed lost. I did see
Yeah,
the very. Did I see the?
You
very
saw
end?
the end. You
Saw the
came
very
back
end.
while
Gun Club
they were
one?
You
fighting.
did.
Gun
The
Club one.
the Gun Club one.
One of
Derek
the
was actually excited about that.
One of the sons pinned
Bang, bang.
Billy Gunn.
Yes, I think it was Colton, right?
It's hard. It's like you want to win and you're also proud
I
of your,
think so.
your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know they got to be having so much fun out
Oh,
there.
you know they're
You
having
know
so
what?
much fun.
I,
He's hitting both his sons left and right. It's hilarious.
Mom, you
He's
did-
like, this is for your childhood.
What are you going to say, D?
Mom, you didn't see Max rap. That was okay, but I have a perfect one.
Okay, make it quick.
Yo. Listen. Internet, because I know. Maybe my mom is a Donald Trump. I don't know. Call Jack Brewer. Call me Jack Brock. Call me the Jack in a box.
Okay, that's very good.
We did, yes, Bang Bang Scissor Gang did win. You were excited about that. There was a mom and 2 sons sitting in front of us that came and said hello to us while we were making a video.
Oh, yeah.
And Grant was one of the sons. He, I believe, has autism. And so his mom was like,
They
can,
were
can you
amazing.
come say hi to Derek and whatever? And he was a little shy to come say hi to Derek. I guess they've seen us at a different event, but he was too shy to come say hi. And so this time the mom was like, you got to say hi. They're right here. They're in our section. And then they were only sitting a few rows in front of us. So next thing you know, the rest of the night, they're just like going back and forth. And during the Bang Bang Scissor Gang match, the mom kept looking back at Derek and being like, guns up. And then Derek and her would do
She
their
was a
little-
fan. She knew all the things.
Oh,
I was-
she did.
yeah.
Every time she went by, she was giving Derek the scissor, and they were just doing all the things, and it was
Yeah,
pretty
she was
cute.
very nice.
So then moving on, you did like this Okada one. That was the first match of the
Yes.
Dynasty pay-per-view.
Yes, I am so happy for him. They're retaining that
Who did he beat again?
pack.
Oh, the bastard pack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. His name's literally Bastard Pack. Like, they projected it all over the screen. So AEW
Yeah.
definitely has more lax rules.
That's why Derek always says bastard at the screen, I guess.
Maybe.
Ooh, that makes
He
sense.
had a bad haircut.
Yeah.
And they do this. They did this like pile driver thing with the head going into the mat that was very like multiple
Oh,
times with multiple wrestlers. I saw it last night. I don't remember ever seeing it before where they like literally jam their opponent's head into the mat. That just makes me nervous.
Yeah, every time Mom would grab me.
Oh, just I don't
Ugh.
want to witness somebody like getting their neck broke, you know?
So then we did have Adam Copeland and the house after that, and Derek was doing this really creepy thing where he was like, it was very like witchcrafty. He was like, the house always wins, which I found out is a part of their song, and that is like what they said.
And on and on.
Oh my God, he did
Like
it for
Derek
like
does.
he did it for like easily 10 minutes straight. Like, I was literally texting Sherry. Sherry edits our videos. I was like, hey, just so you know, like, you can be really selective about what you keep. Like, for example, in this match, Derek keeps saying over and over, the house always wins. You can keep like 3 or 4, cut the rest.
Yeah.
I was like, it's gotta go. And it just went on and on. And I'm like, bro, take a breather. But I did send Chris
And the
a
house
picture.
did win.
This is true.
Well, the house always wins.
And
Yeah.
Buddy Murphy, which is Rhea's
I'm familiar.
fiance,
Fiance, yes.
Fiance.
is
Let's not
In
Mrs.
the House
Maria,
of Black,
please.
in the House of Black, so the whole crowd started chanting,
"We want mommy," which is kind of funny. But you know what I noticed about him? No tats.
His other 2 guys on his
Com-
team,
Tatted every
yeah,
like every part of their human you could see was tatted. I did not see a tattoo on that man.
no, I did
Which
send.
I found interesting just because that's not the norm.
I sent Chris a photo of Adam
Huh.
Copeland because he's the guy from Vikings, that show we watched, and I was like, "There's the Vikings guy," and Chris was like, "Get his autograph now."
Yeah,
I'm like, "Okay, cool." He's in the ring, probably not, but
Yeah, we'll get arrested
know.
if we jump that bear.
How were your
Yeah.
seats?
They were good.
they were good. Yeah,
We were over by the camera, like the
Very good.
in the
I
middle
was
section.
on TV.
Kind of where we sat
actually.
last time.
you might have been on TV. We don't really know that you're on TV. You just put your face in front of the camera.
When did that happen?
It was when you were in
I was
getting
out
the
getting
food.
food.
When the 2 matches like ended, we went down to the end of our road to make that TikTok.
Oh, I missed the whole
And
thing.
while we were standing down there, they had, the cameras on the big arm thing, and it's moving around the crowd, and it was going past us. It was already past us by the time Derek realized what was happening, but then Derek just starts going nuts. And so then the camera did come back, and it went over Derek.
it was like a boom camera. So
Yeah,
it's
like-
just, there's just up there.
there's somebody on the ground controlling
yeah.
it, because it's just like that huge arm. But I have no idea if it was like on TV or not, but it certainly went past Derek when he started going crazy for it. But Adam Copeland, they kind of did like the Asuka move, and like they spit on him.
Yeah, they spit black. The
What-
House
what's
of
that
Black
called?
Spits
You mean
black.
Black mix.
Yeah.
Black mist, is that what it is?
Yes. That's
Yeah.
That's exactly what
Gross.
Sky Blue
Yeah, it's icky.
suffer months ago, and
Mm.
that black mix absolutely darker her up.
Okay. Well, after the House of Black won, your girl Julia Hart came out. I will say, I know you weren't cheering on Willow Nightingale, but Willow Nightingale has a very cool entrance, and it is,
She also had quite the following.
yeah, she did. There was a lot of people cheering for her, and there was her entrance and like the way her name looks on the big screen and the colors. It was very cool. I did like it. But you were rooting for Julia Hart, and it was Willow Nightingale
was.
versus Julia Hart, and this again, Julia Hart is a part of the House
House of Black.
So you were again doing the house always wins creepy thing. And what happened there?
The house lost.
No.
Let's not talk about it.
Julia
Okay.
Hart did lose her title to Willow Nightingale.
Bummer.
And then after the match, Willow Nightingale was celebrating, and what happened?
And I went out to get food.
I'm not gonna make her name.
Okay, well, I'm going to do it. Then, boom, music hits. CEO, CEO. And in walks Mercedes Moné in this bombshell of a pink dress. Ooh, she looked great. But I was a little disappointed, I'm not going to lie. I expected her to hop on a mic and say something. We got nothing.
What'd she come out and do?
Not a single word. She just like came out to like
Danced.
intimidate Willow Nightingale. I think she's coming after the title and she's coming after Willow, which is why Willow won it, so that the CEO can come after her. But she didn't say anything. We got no smack talk, so that was a little disappointing. But Derek,
I just want to say something real quick. I just want to say something. Willow Nightingale. You know what? You are the paper champion. You should not won that match. The house always wins. So the match between you and Mercedes and Double Nothing is going to be a three-way. That title will be a triple threat match at Double or Nothing. And that title will come home to House of Black. And like I said before, I will say it again. The house always wins.
okay, thank you for sharing that with us. Please stop screaming in the microphone. One thing that I was thinking last night is I feel like they got to have microphones under the floor in the ring. And then I feel like they got to have microphones like in like their wrist guards or something, like when they pipe it in when they do this big slaps. But there will be the occasional like big, huge slap to the chest where it's like it was loud. And I completely believe that it could be loud. It is not as loud as it really is. And I'm like, I was telling Mom, there was a couple times where you could almost like hear the pop of the mic. And I'm like looking at her, I'm like, they gotta be piping audio in somehow. There's no freaking way this hit is that loud.
Well, after you said that, and nothing against the craft of what they do, because they're, very good at what they do.
And I think both companies do it. I think all the companies do it.
But I mean, there was a couple chair pops that like crashed, and then there was other chair pops, like somebody's getting hit in the back with a chair, and you couldn't really hear it.
Yeah.
So I think they
pipe
accentuate
in
the sounds.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that the chair didn't hurt. I'm sure it did. Like, I have no doubt that it hurt. But I do think they accentuate the sounds.
Yeah. So then we did have Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly unfortunately lost, but what happened at the end?
By the way, I did text Colt Cabana today.
Oh, yeah? What'd you say to Colt?
About that match.
Oh, about your three-way match that you want to do? And did he have anything to say?
Yes.
Did he think it was a good idea?
Yes. He actually liked it. I text him, can you talk to Tony Khan, make this three-way match, Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale versus Judy Hart in a three-way match, triple threat at Double or Nothing. And Cole says, and I quote, on text, he said, I will let him know.
There
Okay.
you go.
Colt Cabana was brave enough to give you his phone number.
Yes, he
We
was.
told him.
I warned him.
We warned him that was risky,
He
but
said,
he
I
did it.
texted Colt today, and I was like, yeah, right. And then you guys were like, what'd you say? And I was like,
No, he does have Colt's number, and we warned Colt that was maybe not a good idea, but he did it. At the end of the Kyle O'Reilly match, Adam Cole did come out in the wheelchair because he has been injured, and then what happened?
Simp.
And he got up.
He got up and
I was just about to say he's fake for that. He did not need a wheelchair.
Yeah, he's not injured anymore.
he walked into the ring, and he
Probably
did
never
give
was.
Wardlow
A side eye.
really
I
dirty
noticed that.
look. We both were like, that was interesting.
And then
And then Sportskeeda posted on Instagram, like, what was this all about? Because they're currently on the same team, and they certainly didn't look like they're on the same team.
he
by the
gave him
look
a
he
really
gave 'em.
wicked side eye.
Yeah, he
We'll
did.
see.
So then we had Chris Jericho versus Hook. Chris Jericho is 53 years old. Hook is 24 years
53.
old.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was interesting. Derek was on Chris Jericho's team.
Yeah, and
I
he
was.
did not have a whole lot of fans in there.
No.
People actually were chanting, "Please retire."
Yeah, and
And
Derek
that's
was
just
offended.
Brutal.
That's just mean.
That's
It is mood. It is kind of mean.
Derek was like, this crowd is rude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who won?
Hook won.
No.
No.
it
Jericho won.
It was Jericho the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Derek didn't like that. I did have a question for you, Derek. At one point, they were out of the ring, and
Somebody tried to pin it.
somebody tried to pin the other guy outside of the ring, and they actually started counting like 1, 2. But I thought they could only end the match in the ring. So is that a different rule in AEW that I'm unaware of?
What it is called FTW rules.
Oh, so it's a different rules with that match only.
FTW rules. You can't pin them.
Anywhere.
Pin that superstar in the ring or outside of the ring.
Okay, so at one point they were actually chanting "Go home, Jericho," and Derek didn't really know what
Also rude.
Derek didn't really know what they were saying, and he was like, "What do they mean by that?" And I was like, "I don't know. They're saying like go home," and he's like, Derek looks at me, the sweetest, most innocent face, like, leave. And I was like,
Poor guy.
I think that's what they mean. And Derek was like, that is so mean. Like, so then, honestly, in my opinion, this should have been the main event.
Best match of the night.
Favorite AEW match I have ever
seen.
watched.
Unbelievable. This Will Ospreay guy.
Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson.
Yes, let's go.
Unbelievable
Went on
match.
for like 45 minutes. And I'm not talking about entrances. Yeah, it was crazy.
No, with entrances, it was 40 minutes.
Oh, okay. It
Because
seemed like it was longer.
I have the video.
This guy is so acrobatic.
Will Ospreay. Unbelievable.
Like more or less than Ricochet. Rick O'Shea.
More.
Probably more.
think.
The aerials he was doing.
Yeah, like this guy was a gymnast. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like he was impressive. Like this, like some of the shit Logan Paul's done, like, you know, like, I mean, but he puts twists in it. Like Logan Paul jumps off from way up high, but this guy jumps up from here and does a couple loops. I mean,
Yeah.
he was
I
super impressive.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was like a gymnast in college or something.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, he was so impressive.
was
like,
unbelievable. And the crowd loves him.
loved
and
him.
my
And they love Bryan Danielson, too.
They do. It was a very much like both opponents were beloved. Derek was on Will Ospreay's team. My favorite chant.
I was. Oh my God, that match right there has been literally blows
It was
my
mind-blowing.
mind
It really was.
right now. That should be a match of the year.
It was
It was
so
incredible.
impressive. My favorite chant was when they were doing Ospreay.
Ospreay,
Ospreay.
Ospreay,
Ospreay. It was like the, you know,
Ospreay.
Who won?
Ospreay.
Who won, Derek?
Ospreay. He did win. And then
did
there
win.
was some real, like, we weren't really sure if Bryan Danielson was really hurt or if he wasn't really hurt. They really wanted you to think he was hurt at the end of that match. But
if he wasn't hurt, he was putting on a hell of an act.
But I just still think, like,
I
when the
don't think
lights
he was
finally
that
went down,
acting.
and Will Ospreay was showing serious concern for him, which,
And Will Ospreay actually helped him out. Like,
helped him out of the ring.
He's
But
awesome.
the guy in front of us seemed to know a lot about wrestling. I didn't get his whole story, but he
He-
actually showed them a picture of himself with Adam Pearce.
oh, he was friends with, who was he friends with?
And Pierce.
Well, but one of the guys there.
He was good friends with that Briscoe guy, Chicken.
Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark.
He was
He's
texting
funny.
Mark Briscoe
He's funnier
during
than
the
shit,
show.
this Chicken guy. That's what they call him, Chicken. But anyway, he was there when we were in Chicago. He's pretty funny. But anyway, he kept saying, oh, he's really hurt. He's really hurt. He's really hurt. But then he's on the, like, we're looking at the ring. He's on the far right side. The lights go down, and they're almost pushing him off the ring, like across the whole ring and off the other side where the ramp is. I'm like, if his shoulder was seriously hurt, that's not how they're going to treat him. They're not going to just push him across the ring. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure that I bought 100% that he was really, really hurt. But
So I did look it up today. I didn't like read this whole article, but the title of the article, the headline says that Will Ospreay is retiring the move that led to Danielson injury scare. So I think maybe he was like hurting in the moment,
Yeah.
but like maybe didn't actually like tear or severely injure anything, because they were also talking about his shoulder, and then he got kind of helped out, and like there was two guys on either side of him, like his arms were around their shoulders, and I'm like, if his shoulder was hurt, they weren't carrying him out like that. And then when we were live on TikTok afterward in the car, somebody actually did tell us that if they cross the wrestler's arms over their chest, that's what indicates to the back of the house that
He really
this
is
a
hurt.
legitimate injury, and they did not do that. So I'm hoping that Brian Danielson is not actually injured, but
Yeah.
he certainly put on a
Yeah, it was crazy.
I believed it.
Yeah.
But then we did have the ladder match after that. At one point there was 5 ladders.
Boring.
I didn't think it was boring. I think
It's boring.
didn't-
The Young Bucks won. No one cares. Move on.
Okay,
That's why I
Derek
didn't like it.
that the Young Bucks won. Derek actually did say in our video that I posted yesterday, Young Bucks barf in my mouth, which multiple people thought was really funny in our comments.
Yeah.
It
wasn't really boring.
One guy
Who'd they
was
play
so
against?
bloody.
Ooh.
It was FTR.
Dax, the little short bald guy.
It was.
Oh my
Dax.
God, he had blood all over. You
He-
could see it all over the
ew,
mat. He
it
was
was
bleeding
gross. Is it
everywhere.
real?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And it was a ladder match, so they were going up after the thing, And at
You
the
know how your head can bleed though? You get a little cut on it. It's like
yeah, and
It was brutal.
they actually put one ladder from the ring to the announcer table, and they were balancing it, and then they were like doing flips and tricks and slamming each other while it was balanced like that, which is kind of nuts. And then at the very end, FTR is about to get the ladder, or he's up the ladder, he's about to get it, and next thing you know, here comes this guy,
masked man. You know
Yeah.
how they do.
he
Had a
runs
mask
out,
on.
he's got a mask on, he pulls one guy down, and then these bodyguards come over and they're like holding onto the masked guy, and they're unmasking him, and while they're unmasking him, there goes the Young Bucks up the ladder. They get the belts and they win, and then they unveil the guy under the mask, and it was, who was it?
Jack Perry. He doesn't like him
Yep.
either.
He's the one who actually got let go when CM Punk got let go, because him and CM Punk got into a fight backstage. So I guess they let him come back.
Yeah.
It was big drama. But then
You're gonna bring that bitch back in. Like, come on, just kick him out. Fire him again.
So was the ladder
Look
match the main event?
no.
And then there was Smojo versus whose house?
Swerve's out.
Whose house?
Swerve's house.
I do have to say,
So that was the main event?
shout out because we missed one, Derek. Thunder Rosa and Timeless
Oh,
Tony
yeah.
Storm.
Oh, who won
Timeless
that?
Tony
Go
Storm
ahead.
did
Tony
win.
Storm.
So she
His pick.
retained her title.
You know, she's not really black and white in person.
yeah.
No way.
Eh,
I thought
she's
she
close.
just changed the aroma of everything.
Yeah. I will say, shout out to Thunder Rosa. One of my favorite entrances in all of
her entrance
AEW.
is always awesome. She's freaking awesome.
But I do think Swerve Strickland's is better.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well,
It was-
Swerve does it big too.
Yeah, and he's got like the rapper on screen, and he's
Oh,
got his
yeah.
little hype man behind him. Like he
He
has.
was
of
a
fun.
lot of fun.
So
You mean Prince Nana? Well,
yeah.
he's getting Prince Nana over that joint. If I have the skill like that, I'm damn with the shoes.
I think you should be the
Prince
advocate.
Nana.
So who won, Swerve or Samoa?
So Swerve won. He's
Sick.
the
Won.
new AEW World Champion.
Hell yeah, he is.
And the entire place was really hyped when we were leaving.
I
There was
bet.
a lot of whose house?
Swerve's house.
Earlier in the night,
Oh,
I got the whole crowd going out in the what is it called? Concourse? Because I don't even know why I said whose house? But I said it like 4 or 5 times. There was like everybody in the concourse going Swerve's house, and it was me going whose house?
it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny
Dang.
when that happened.
I'm
We
so
were
proud
like,
of you. I wish I
"Go,
could have seen it."
Mom." Of course, we have video of it.
Yeah,
So,
it was fun.
That was awesome. But yeah, we had a great night. We
It
did
was a
get to
great
see
night.
Linda came over and said hi to
Please
us.
do that again.
All
For the
right.
American Nightmare. Everybody will see with you.
I love it.
Linda did come say hi to us. We also saw Amanda, so shout out to them. And AEW put on a great show, and we
It
were
was
glad
so
we got
much
to see it. We were at the inaugural Dynasty. That
So
is so
cool.
freaking cool.
You guys are so lucky.
it was
You're
pretty
so
amazing.
lucky. You're a
He
lucky
is
boy.
such a lucky boy.
Are you glad you got to watch it in person and not on your phone?
No, why you bringing that up, girl?
Well, I know you didn't want me on the podcast when we started, but I did have a great time hearing about Dynasty and talking about teaching and being back on the pod. So thanks for having me and dealing with it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. We had a great time at Dynasty. Shout out to our friends at AEW. We are so appreciative of you guys having us. If you are still here, make sure that you like, subscribe, and
Damn it, a share.
Definitely share this podcast. Find us on all the platforms at Baker Banter. Make sure you're following Derek and his weekly wrestling. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Make sure you follow Derek and his wrestling predictions on Snapchat at Baker Banter. Find us on Cameo at Baker Banter. And we also have a lot of fun merch on bakerbanter.com. So go check that out. And we will talk to you on Thursday. Peace.